Red and Cinder admits that Bao was one of the friends she abandoned. Red apologizes for having his beef. Look, she outwardly apologizes for having his beef with Bao influence Cinder and the other business decisions. Right? So, to explain why Red absolutely hated Bao, it was actually because of a Japan trip in 2024 and because of TwitchCon, where Red formed this negative opinion on Bao further because of these. Bao apparently blew off on one of their friends that was making blew off on one of her friends over an incident at a restaurant with a rude owner. Like Bao apparently yelled and belittled their friend, and that kind of made them sour their relationship a little bit. And everyone got together for what we called our Canadian Thanksgiving dinner, since it was a few days earlier. It was the last night of all of the friends would be together, but just like TwitchCon, again, Bao never showed up. She said she was on her way, and sometime later she said, never mind, she's not coming. We were all aware that this was the last time we'd all see each other until 2025. Beyond this, in TwitchCon, 3 things happened. The first 3 nights, Cinder in TwitchCon and her friends went out to dinner somewhere nice. Bao was supposed to be there with them, but never showed up. It was the first chance the close friends had to see each other in months in person away from work, and she blew them off. Everyone present was talking about her not being there. One of our friends was telling us that they were working on a song with Bao, and Bao asked about them having a music video to go with it. The song this friend was making with Cinder at the time was planned to make a music video, but they weren't planning on having one for the song with Bao. They said that Bao got upset with them and guilt-tripping them over their decision about their own content. This reinforces what I had told Nano about Bao. Right? The last night before everyone went home, the friends were planning to go to dinner. I ended up getting sick and stayed behind. In the group chat, while they were figuring out where to eat, Bao said that she wanted to go somewhere fancy or she wasn't going. This was the last night everyone was together, but there were still caveats she had to spend time with her friends. Neither Cinder and I have access to this group chat anymore. So chat. Basically, Red started forming very bad opinions because of these incidents with Bao, right? And then one incident that further reinforced that was the inclusion of Sakramore. If you remember Sakramore, he was the MV editor for Bosch Rush music that Red was ratting and schizoing about with Nanoless about how Bao apparently fucking made an exclusivity deal with them, right? And basically, Red and Cinder were confused that Sakramore canceled on them after saying that they were interested and after a successful project, and due to past experience with Cinder, Red thought that Sakramore was being guilt-tripped by Bao to go exclusive with her. To repeat, because of Red's previous experiences with Sak, Red thought that Sak was being guilt-tripped to become exclusive with Cinder, if that makes sense. Right? And I guess Red couldn't have an adult conversation with Bao. No, none of that. Dude, Cinder didn't even talk to Bao. Exclusive with Bao, you mean? Exclusive with Bao. Yeah, Cinder didn't even talk to Bao. And that's where, like, Cinder is, like, all apologizing to Bao about, like, yeah, I should have talked to you. I should have made up with you. I should have communicated with you better and all these sorts of shit. Right? And then somewhere along here, another artist that regularly worked with Cinder also talked to Red about how they were suddenly going to work exclusive with Bao too. Right? Yeah. And then there's also that this happened. Sometime between these dates, Bao started a group chat with both Red and I. We were both removed from this group, so we don't have access to what was said. As far as we remember, she wanted to do something together. Red was adamant to me about not wanting to plan anything with her at that time, so we didn't. So basically, because of all of that boiling, because of like Red absolutely hating on Bao for all these little things that they've experienced in the past, but Red started pushing a lot of his insistence, this deep-seated disdain for Bao, they started like he started pushing all of that on Cinder, and it got to a point where apparently they started fighting about it. Cinder and what's his face? Cinder and Red, I mean. Where was that? Where was that part? Red and Cinder apparently started fighting about this whole thing. Like, Bao's not gonna do that. Bao's not that kind of person, right? And Red would insist. Red would evenly adamantly tell Bao to cancel collabs with Bao. Oh, God, he would tell Cinder, cancel collabs with Bao. Don't engage with her anymore and all these sorts of things, right? And, you know, Cinder actually caved. Cinder caved. Because, like, you know, because Red was Bao's manager, or Cinder's manager, she kind of caved. She started kind of distancing herself away from Bao, not really talking to her or communicating the problems with her anymore. And that's where all of this went. That's why Red is apologizing here, saying that it was wrong of him to push his feelings to Cinder's friend, and, like, you know, basically wanted Cinder to cut off all ties with Bao. Like, holy shit. He was actually schizoing out. He is so toxic. I would actually think that he is actually kind of like, he's a business autist that has a bit of an ego. And that's why I think it might have been a little bit of a red flag that Cinder went back with him. Right? Like, sure, you can learn from a situation like that, but that's still kind of a red flag, you know? Like, you never truly get that kind of mindset out of your head in one incident. There can still be situations in the future where if Red is going to feel his business autist powers and insist on Cinder not to do something, Cinder could still, like, not do it. In my opinion, I've experienced these kinds of women a lot of times before. To me, the examples that Red listed, the whole, like, being upset because of a rude waiter or a rude owner, being upset that she did not appear on dinners, shit like that, right? Those are just typical woman moments for me. It doesn't register to me as unusual. Right? I don't know the full extent of the situation. So even if I do take Red's experience with Bao at face value, I wouldn't necessarily grow this hate towards Bao anyway. Bro was unironically just schizoing out. When was Bao schizo? No, Red was going schizo. No, you misheard me. Bro was, bro as in, like, Red was going schizo, not Bao. I don't know if you misheard that. That's what I'm saying. It's less Cinder is a psychopath who fooled everyone for years, and more everyone did bad things and engaged in a free-for-all, which ended up in everyone looking bad. Yeah, basically. That's all what's happening here. Is that situation with Bao real, or is Red exaggerating? It might be a half and half. I don't believe Bao is, like, evil or a bad person for doing the things that Red described here. But like I said, even if what Red was saying was true, I don't think Bao deserved that kind of hate. Like, he's just schizoing out. Yeah.